Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Living Large Las Vegas. My name is Kobe Sherlock, and today, back in the lab, Mr. Derek Parent. Derek, say hello to everybody.
Hello, hello.
Guys, you know, we are really excited to bring to you another guest who is an extremely great leader in our community, somebody who's doing some incredible work and really just paving the path of a different style of education and offering pathways for students, and we're excited to hear more about it. I know I'm excited to hear about it with an education background. So without further ado, I want to introduce Mr. Tam Larnerd, who is the principal of Spring Valley High School. Tam, will you say hello to everybody?
Kobe, you got it right. That's
Let's
great.
go.
Nobody wants to say the nerd part about it, but good afternoon, everyone. An honor to be here. Thank you, Mr. Parent, for inviting me. And excited to share some of the great things going on at Spring Valley and maybe in education in general. We've had a rough couple months, and so it's been a learning experience for everybody across the board.
Man, hats off to all educators that are making adjustments right now, and I'm really excited to hear your perspective and how it's been during this time, but ultimately all the exciting things you have. Before we do, can you share a little bit about yourself and your background?
Well, I grew up in upstate New York, Binghamton, New York, and have a kind of an unusual teenage background, work history. My uncle owned the first mobile DJ company in upstate New York, so I DJ'd my first wedding by myself at 16.
Let's go.
And then I started my own company called Party Pros when I was 19. And of course, you're a DJ, so where do you want to DJ? Sounds like you. I wanted to DJ on the radio, so I went after high school. I got my degree from Broome Community College in communications, got hired at WAAL, The Whale, 99.1, did overnights, the captain.
All right.
And
the captain, yes.
And then, so I was doing that, but I come from a family of teachers. My brother was a teacher at DeWitt Clinton High School in the Bronx, and my mom's a college professor at Marist College. Brother's wife is a Spanish teacher, and so I was thinking to myself, what career would complement a mobile DJing career? But our busiest time is in the summer. Teachers are off in the summer, so I'm going to be a teacher so I can DJ, all summer and on the weekends and not have to worry about any conflicts. And so I decided to go back to school. I was working full-time at the radio station. I was DJing, really a full-time business, had 5 systems that would go out at any one time. And then I decided to go back to school full-time. So I lived on hour and a half naps for a year and a half until I took a leave to do my student teaching. And then I had an offer to come out to Las Vegas to teach, and everything just fell into place. I had a gentleman who worked for me who offered to buy the company, packed up the moving van and moved out west, head west, young man, and started my teaching career at Basic High School. I was the health educator and leadership teacher, which is like the student council, and the varsity soccer coach, and did that for about 4 years while getting my master's at UNLV. And then started my admin career unexpectedly the next day after finishing leadership at, I was the dean at Greenspun, dean and assistant principal, Greenspun Junior High School. Eventually became the principal at Bob Miller Middle School, which is just a real highlight in my career. The year after I left Miller, probably because I left, but the year after I left Bob Miller, it was named one of the top 50 middle schools in the country.
Wow.
And then now I'm currently the principal at Spring Valley High School, home of the Grizzlies.
Let's go, Grizz.
Bob Miller, they have I Kids for Care out of there, and we just did a fundraiser for them over there.
It's such a fantastic school. I was actually invited this morning to drop in on their last virtual faculty meeting where 3 of the teachers that I hired and a counselor were retiring, and they just asked me to come in and say a few words. And it's just looking at that faculty over there and the work that's continued after I left. It's heartwarming that it didn't just fall apart.
The leadership skills, right?
I always say that's one of the top indicators of true leadership is sustainability after the leader goes. Are the systems in place to carry on the vision?
Yeah. So how long have you been? How long is the Spring Valley? So you didn't really put years on it, but how long have you been the principal of Spring Valley?
So
now?
This is my 7th year.
7.
I started in 2014, and we've had an incredible growth spurt in Spring Valley. When I first got there, we had 1,000 students who were zoned for Spring Valley that were voting with their feet and going elsewhere. They're going to some of the CTAs or the other magnets, and so we finished that first year at 1,779 kids, and then this year we had 2,602. So we've grown over 800 students in just the 6.5 years since I've been there.
Kids want to go. Kids want, you have some, talk about some of the programs. I think, so my son, he going there, he's going to finish off his senior year there. But just some amazing programs you guys offer.
we've been focused on creating as many pathways for as many different kids as possible. We're one of the most diverse high schools in Nevada. We have 33 different languages, very even demographics as far as the different subgroups that attend Spring Valley. So, for example, for the students who are high academic, really motivated, love to learn, love to read, we have, and this is just our 4th year of being an international baccalaureate magnet school. So really any child that lives west of the 15 or west of the 95 can qualify, can apply, and hopefully be selected for our IB magnet. We have 175 incoming magnet students next year coming into 9th grade. And then for the kids that are kind of in the middle, usually kids that are first generation college bound, come from an underrepresented subgroup in college, or possibly qualify for free or reduced lunch, or maybe all three. We have a program called AVID. It's Advancement via Individual Determination, and it's really for those kids in the middle that if given the right supports, it's not about just getting them to graduate. AVID kids go to college. Absolutely, every one of our AVID kids will go to college. Last year we were at 98% that graduated from Spring Valley, went to college. The 2% that didn't, they went into the military to try to help pay for college, which is 100% okay with me. And so the AVID is an elective that brings in some wraparound supports for kids, tutorials, tons of help and assistance with applying for scholarships in their senior year, filling out the FAFSA, the Common App. I mean, I went to college, and when my oldest son was applying at UNR and all these other colleges, I had no idea what to do. That was a long time ago for me, and I can't imagine for families where neither parent went to college to navigate through that process without any support. And then another great pathway at Spring Valley is next year we're adding our 9th Career Tech Ed pathway. I'll start naming them. I'm sure I'll forget one, but I'm excited. We're adding cybersecurity. We have computer science as a Career Tech Ed. We also have automotive, photography, video productions, business management, theater tech. And I know I'll forget one, but we were really were jazzed this year because we added military science with our brand new Navy JROTC program, which is also a CTE strand.
That's super cool, man. You know, I love hearing you speak into the support for first-gen college students. I was a first-gen college student. I graduated from Middle Tennessee State, and one of the biggest things that I invested in when I was employed at MTSU was that I did Camp College, which was a support group for us to help transition those students that were low income, high ability, to really prep them and counsel them and support them and guide them in the college application process, as well as, you know, FAFSA and what it looks like to apply for student aid and things like that. It was really great.
We are so deeply committed to our AVID program. I tell people it's woven into the fabric of Spring Valley because it's not just about the kids that are in the 550 kids that chose AVID as their elective. AVID is in every classroom at Spring Valley. Every student is expected to have a binder that is immaculate and well organized, and it's part of every student's experience at Spring Valley. The way that they take focus notes, we call it, and reflect on their notes. It's all AVID strategies that are embedded throughout Spring Valley. So every student at Spring Valley is benefiting from it. 550 of them are deeply involved because it's one of the electives that they've chosen.
Yeah, Tam, you said you're now at around 2,000 students, if not a little above.
2,600.
That's it, 2,600. How do you, as a leader of, you know, your organization and lead not only the student body, but of course the teachers and everyone involved in your community, how do you lead them over the last couple of months during this pandemic?
Wow, it's been an emotional roller coaster because things were so fluid when this thing started. Information was coming out not only just daily, but hourly of how we were going to be impacted. Can we deploy Chromebooks or can we not? And I'm just so proud of my team at Spring Valley. If you've been watching the news, we were almost always the first to do, you name it. We're the first ones that were in the back parking lot handing out Chromebooks to the seniors who needed them so they could improve any of their grades they needed to in order to graduate. We were the first school that did the senior parade that now everyone's doing. It was on Channel 8 News. Sasha Loftus covered it. She had over 85,000 views on her Facebook Live coverage of that. We were the first ones to do a virtual senior awards night. And so I'm just so proud of my team because I really felt that Spring Valley has been leading the way. But as far as managing it, a lot of late nights, a lot of computer time, a lot of emails. I don't like to manage by emails, but in our new normal. That's pretty much what we get to do before the COVID. And so what I was committed to do right from the start is I already had a system in place where I would communicate with our staff, because I don't believe in meeting on things that you could just read about, and as long as you're held accountable. And so I already had a system I called Items to Note, and I just expanded it. And with the new Parent Link program, I can send it out to everybody. So every day I was sending an email out to about 7,000 people, every student, every parent, every teacher, every support professional, just to keep them updated. And things would constantly be changing. Try to make them a little humorous so people would actually want to read. Sometimes incorporated a little personal facts, because to make it sound interesting enough for them to read 10 items, and sometimes they're repetitive, but it was really based on the feedback, the questions I would get back. Every time I press send, I would just wait and hold my breath, and usually by the end of the night I'd have 30 or 40 questions. What about this? What about graduation? What about my yearbook? All of that.
For you and the student body, how's it been connecting with them? From my experience of you and what you shared, you obviously care passionately about the students. How's your connection been with them during this break?
So passionate. And it's, you get in the kid business for a reason. You got to like kids, and to be doing this job, teachers' jobs, and not having that daily interaction with kids, it's tough, because this is why we chose this profession. I say teachers work too long, for too hard, for too little. And then all of a sudden they get the rug pulled out from under them, and their passion, changes, and their whole paradigm of how to educate changes. And it's been a incredible learning experience, I think, for everyone, from students to teachers, and definitely for the principal.
Well, it's you're on the news, they're talking about budget cuts and everything going on there. You have so many students and so much staff. What does that look like with the new year coming on?
Yeah, good question, Derek. I just crunched the numbers. Clark County has about 322,000 students. I think the number that was tossed around the other night at the board meeting was about 38 million. That comes out to about $120 per student for Spring Valley. That's about $320,000. It's not insurmountable, but it's a big chunk. Luckily, I met with our school organizational team on Monday, and we just went over some possible cuts. I'm trying to focus mostly on current vacant positions, because things were really good up until the COVID. I mean, Spring Valley was a very financially sound institution, and we were able to do things a little bit outside the box. Like, for example, the district only allocates 3 campus monitors for this huge campus. And we decided when we added portables, we needed a 4th person, but we had to pay for it out of our strategic budget. Well, that 4th person just got a new job as a custodian in the district, and so now we have a vacancy. So that's one I think we could all agree. Like, we would love to have 4, but if we had to cut somebody, we'd cut that. We get a tremendous return on investment by what we call buying teachers' preps. So teachers, we have basically an 8-period day. It's 4 periods one day, 4 periods on the B day. And if a teacher agrees to sell their prep, they basically teach 4 out of 4 classes one day and 3 of the 4 the next. And they get paid their hourly rate, and it's great. They have that extra money to support their family. And it's been really great, because even during this shutdown, the district committed and maintained their commitment to pay those teachers for that extra time, because they do have those extra kids. But the math comes out that every time we buy 6 teachers' preps, which might cost me anywhere from $35,000 to $40,000 max, that saves me 1 teaching position. And in my strategic budget, every teacher that I'm allocated, I get $88,000 for. And so the difference gets to stay with the school. We call that attrition. And so we've leveraged that attrition and that added amount by being able to, for example, with the Chromebooks. So many schools, we don't have Title I money anyway anymore. That was taken away. But we had 2,300 Chromebooks already on campus when the shutdown started for 2,600 students. And so it's not a big stretch for me to, just as I did last week, to say, you know what, we're going 1-to-1 next year. Every student will have a Chromebook. And so if the COVID fires back up, we can easily transition from brick and mortar back to online and distance learning without any of the drama of deployments and any of that. And, kids emailing me 2 days later, oh, sorry, I overslept. Can I get a Chromebook? Everybody will have one. And it'll just make the job for the teachers. We don't know what next year's going to look like. It could be distance. It could be face-to-face. But I know there's no way to socially distance 40 kids in a classroom. There's just no possible way. So it's going to be either we move on to phase 2 and things start opening up and we start, rounding the corner on this, or things are probably going to look different.
Yeah. Sounds like you need a bigger school.
Oh no, 2,600 is plenty.
No, a bigger building.
Oh yeah, but that's one of the things I like about Spring Valley. Up in our old Normal, we were like a medium-sized high school. My wife is the principal at Clark High School, and I think she has over 3,200 there. And a lot of the high schools here are topping 3,000. My son goes to Coronado High School, 3,400. So 2,600 is a really nice number. Back when we were small at less than 1,800, not a good number, because we just didn't have enough bodies to do the things that needed to get done. Every kid deserves great programs and clubs and athletic teams, but without enough teachers to advise and coach, then some of those things start falling through the cracks. So we're really pleased with where we are right now.
You spoke on athletic teams. You seems like there's always something big inside your school. Championship bowling.
I'm representing for the bowling team. Three state championships in the last 3 years. Our boys won 1 and 2 years ago, and then this year our very, very young girls team won the state championship. In the entire school's history, opened in 2004, so 16 years, we've only won 5 state championships of any sports. We won 1 in girls basketball about 4 or 5 years ago, and then we won the softball. It actually was today, was a 4-year anniversary when we won the softball state championship. With the game, I was up in Reno watching it at UNR. It's been rated the 3rd most exciting softball state championship in the history of the state of Nevada, and it was just, everybody was on the edge of their seats. We came back in the I think the bottom of the 9th and won by 1 run, and athletics is just such a great complement to the high school experience. And so I know not every kid is going to be an athlete, but when I meet with those incoming 9th graders, I just say, just get involved with something. It doesn't it could be Key Club, it could be Honor Society, it could be theater club. We have a vibrant list of clubs that are available to you, and if you like athletics and you want to try it. Most of our freshman sports they don't even cut, so at least give it that 1 year to try and see if you like it.
I love that, man. And what I heard you say a little bit earlier, you're talking about competitiveness, and it sounds like you got a diverse group within the household. Wife at one school, son at a different. Do you guys have a little competitive nature going on in the house?
He tell you his son. His son just got accepted to law school on a full ride.
Awesome.
Yeah, Max is going to U of A. We actually were really disappointed because right when this whole thing hit, we had a trip planned together. It was going to be our little boys' trip down to Tucson. We had a tea time booked, and then we're going to tour U of A law. They just offered him a full ride, and we had to cancel the whole thing. He signed his letter of intent. He's going to go, but he's going to go kind of sight unseen, and we're going to move him down in August. And he's excited. He is very, very motivated to do well. But with the wife issue, the wife, she's killing me, man. Yeah. She reminds me every day that Clark beat us in football last year, and it's a huge competition in the house. We're both, passionately competitive. When our schools are like our life. And just as a side note, just the other day, we both interviewed the same teacher, and he had offers at both schools, and then he chose Clark. And it was a little tense in the Larnerd house that night because I was not happy. I'm like, come on, man, you know what we have going on here with IB and Avid and all this stuff. Chose Clark. She's watching right now, so right now I'm gonna be in big trouble when I go home, but. My wife is just an incredible educator. Not to get into the Clark politics, but there was a lot going on there earlier in the year, and she was only there a month and a half, and really set the ship straight, and then it shut down. And she has done the same thing you can't over communicate in this type of situation when it's so precarious and there's so many questions, unanswered questions. And so we both have had a lot of late nights in our office. My office is the dining room. Her office is her daughter's, who's away at college, her bedroom. And so we just kind of go our separate ways and do our emails, and then we kind of two ships kind of pass in the hallway.
Man, I tell you, I heard too a lot. You said it earlier about the senior experience that you guys were doing for graduation, and I want to take it there because I've been keeping up with all the news across the country, really, and it's been a common, topic on social media is, what senior classes are going through, and emotionally what it's like for them. How's it been for the class of 2020 out of Spring Valley?
It's just been devastating, absolutely devastating, because ever since they were in middle school, we have a big tradition. We call it the grad walk. So on the day that we issue caps and gowns, the marching band comes out, all of the seniors who have cleared for graduation in their caps and gowns, and we march a parade around the whole school with the marching band, playing the fight song. All of the underclassmen line the hallways, and then, so they can see what it looks like to be a high school graduate. But then we take the show on the road, and we go to our feeder like Lawrence Junior High School or Fertitta and some of the elementary schools. We do the same thing there. So some of these seniors have seen that grad walk from as early as maybe 7th grade. And every time I talked to them during their annual orientations, I always kept pushing, just close your eyes. Imagine what that moment's going to look like when you walk across that stage and you see me in the middle and you shake my hand and I hand you your high school diploma. I mean, it's just been our North Star. The year before I got to Spring Valley, 2013, we had a 70% graduation rate. This will be our 3rd year over 90%. We're trending right around 95% right now for this year. So the message has gotten through, the importance of graduating. The team, the teachers, everyone has bought in that, if we have these kids here for 4 years and they don't walk across that stage, and so they've had that mental image for years now, and then it's gone. And it's not just a graduation, it's the prom. We had to cancel the prom. We had to cancel grad night. I'll get emotional if I keep talking about it, because I feel you can hear the pain in our seniors' emails. It comes through loud and clear, and they're angry, and they know they can't blame me. They know they can't blame the governor. They want to blame this virus, but they need an outlet to. And you know what? That's when we just say, I understand, but I don't really, because I had a graduation. I had all of those events at my own graduation, and they're missing it. So we're keeping our fingers crossed. We're really hoping that we advance to phase 2, and maybe we could do something in August. Maybe what we kind of have drawn up is we have 600 kids, so if we do small ceremonies of like 75 kids each, probably without families there, but trying to do a live stream like this, so then their families all over the world can appreciate that and see it. Socially distance them in the gym, separate each ceremony by an hour, have all the custodians wipe everything down, and then just run them through, so they at least have that experience, hopefully. Knock on wood.
Governor, we have a plan. If you're watching this, Governor, we have a strong plan for these students.
I just saw a meme on my way here, actually. A friend sent it to me, like, this is okay, and it showed a line of like 1,000 people standing outside of Ross yesterday to get in, but then a line of graduates, but this is not. I mean, we could do this. If given the opportunity, we can do this. We can keep it safe. Nobody worries about the health and safety more than I do. It's my number one priority for my students and my staff. But I know it can be done. It's not insurmountable. We just have to be given the opportunity.
Yeah, I know Metro just had a graduating class, and and they did it. They had 118 graduated in the academy, and Sheriff Lombardo handed everyone this certificate. So smaller groups, 75, and you guys have a really big gym too. So
right,
hopefully they'll get to shake your hand, with gloves on, of course. But I mean, it's a senior.
A high school gym is like 3 basketball courts. If we have no spectators there, with the bleachers closed, it would be so easy to have these kids could sit 15 feet apart.
Yeah, do a
and
couple
and then we just take all the protocols, all the precautions, put masks on them, whatever we need to do. But the seniors need to have some closure of 13 years of hard work. And this was going to be actually our first international baccalaureate graduating class. These are the kids that took that leap of faith 4 years ago, many of whom, about half, are not zoned for Spring Valley. So some of these kids are literally riding a bus from Centennial Hills all the way to Spring Valley every day for an hour and a half just to have this IB experience. And they've worked so hard, and they just deserve something. And I'm just hoping beyond hope that we can give them that experience.
My buddy's daughter graduated with you guys this year in IB.
Yeah, and we even had brand new graduation gowns ordered for them, gold gowns. So it's a big thing. Our colors are Navy, obviously, but so most kids graduate in Navy. If they're an advanced honors grad, they get a white gown. And then this year was going to be our first year with a gold IB gown. So they've been talking about this for years, and just all of the other stuff, senior sunset, where they all come together on the football field. And it just, my heart hurts for them.
And I mean, heart and love goes out to all of them too. And that's, obviously Spring Valley, just across the valley and across the states. It's a tough time, man. Every time I see it, I myself can get emotional looking at it. It's tough, especially, and just like you said, all the expectations being set. So I know they'll stay strong though. I mean, they've learned well and they connect so well. And we have so many opportunities now to connect with they have so many opportunities now to connect with their classmates that I hope that everything is, withholding and they're supporting each other during this time.
Well, just think about it. They're going to have one hell of a 10-year reunion.
I hope so.
Man,
right?
I better be invited. I'll be retired,
10.
but they better invite me to come back because I want to see where all these kids ended up.
So we know, I always see you, posting, you're such a social guy. So to be held in for the last, 8 weeks, for 10 weeks, were you at the last Golden Knight home game?
Well, my wife and I are season ticket holders. We split with another couple, so we each have. I can't remember exactly if we're at the
Devils
last one.
game. The last home game was the Jersey Devils.
Yeah, I don't think we were at that one. We had 2 left in our package that we didn't get to go to. We had a whole bunch in January. We had like 11 games in like 15 days or something. It seemed like, and the couple are 2 of our best friends, so we just work it out who's going to go to what, and we're so looking forward to going to those last couple games and then cheering them on in the playoffs. I know they were in the paper today about the hit for the payment for next year's season tickets just hit yesterday.
Yeah, we got hit, yo. Yeah.
I know. So we would like to see a season. I'm hearing rumors that there may be something in July that comes together, but we are huge Go Knights Go fans and Vegas Golden Knights. I miss having that opportunity. And what a great thing that has been for Las Vegas. After 1 October, I think they really helped heal and bring the whole city back together.
I saw that the possible Stanley Cup is going to be held. I think that's awesome.
Could you imagine?
That'd be incredible. I hope the Preds are in it. I just need to drop that in there.
Oh, no, that's right.
Well, hopefully we get to go to, the Aces, they should have started already, so they're behind. So
those are great games too. If anybody hasn't gone to an Aces game, they're so entertaining. Carolyn Swartz is just a class. If you can get her on this show, she is a class act. She's come to our school. She's met with our girls basketball team. Has taken on this mentorship
she's
role.
the ambassador.
I'll tell you, we sat. Carolyn is amazing, and I had an opportunity, myself and Jane, my better half, in there to sit with Carolyn on a Miss Nevada, board essentially, and we were judges together, and it was a lot of fun, man. Carolyn's a great one.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Education is always a hot topic in our state, and I want to hear your perspective, having an expert in the field here. Derek and I talk to a lot of incredible people and a lot of amazing leaders that sit in that chair and share their story and their experience here in Nevada. And when we talk about education, it's always a mixed review, but those who are here know one thing, and I feel like the message is consistent, that we're all in to improve and just showcase how great the education system is here. Can you speak in a little bit about education in Nevada and what our future holds?
Well, there's no question that it's underfunded. I was talking with somebody today about how cheap the property taxes are here compared to a property I own in New York, maybe a third. And so we have to find funding measures to at least bring Nevada's commitment to education at least close to a national average. But I think this entire last 2 months has been an incredible learning experience for everybody. I was always in that habit of saying, I'm not a techie, ask so-and-so to do it. Well, I've had to learn how to do it, how to set up a Google Meet and, email lists and Google Forms and all of that. And so I think for the teachers, it was a pretty steep learning curve. We were lucky because we kind of read the writing on the wall that the shutdown was going to come at some point. And so the Thursday before it did, I had a faculty meeting and I said, look, everybody, before you leave on Friday, you will have a Google Classroom to be able to communicate with your kids when this happens. It's not going to be if, it's going to happen. You just felt it. The momentum was building. And so we had all day Friday at least to get the Google Classroom set up for every teacher in the building and kind of in-service them. I bought a sub for one of my expert teachers with that, and so he had teachers in and out of the computer lab all day. And we all started learning. I just wish we had one more day. If we had one more day, we could have literally gotten all the Chromebooks out, everybody get your stuff, get whatever you think you're going to need for the next, at first it was only going to be 2 or 3 weeks, but get anything you think you're going to need, because for the last 2 months I've been dealing with, I really need to get this out of my classroom. And for me to, up until we moved into phase 1, for me to allow a teacher to come in to get something off their desk, I literally had to ask permission from my region superintendent to allow that to happen. I mean, and we have to be precautious. We had to have a strict accounting of everybody who entered the building and when and who they may have interacted with, just in case if, 2 weeks later they test positive, and then now we got to backtrack and trace anybody they may have contact with. But man, what a difference one more day would have made if we had it.
I typically, it's always the story, everyone in school, whether you're student or teacher, you get closer to the summer and the narrative is, I can't wait for summer. It's happening. They got big summer plans. So, Tam, in this scenario, what are your plans this summer?
Well, I grew up in upstate New York, and in high school, my dad built an amazing little beach house on a strip of sand on Lake Ontario. And my dad just turned 84 this month, and so a couple of years ago, he was getting to the point where he wasn't going to be able to continue maintaining it and paying for it. And so I'm the youngest of 5, and so I was kind of the one that everybody looked to, say, hey, if this is going to stay in the family, it's going to be up to you. And so literally a month after I got married, we bought my dad's beach house. And so every summer we're committed to spending as much time up there as we can. It's taken a lot. It's a fixer-upper. So we've put a new roof on last year, a new bathroom. But Carrie and I have said this summer it's going to be about rest and relaxation. We actually today just bought 2 Sea-Doos, so we're going to be cruising around up there and just not doing what we've done for the last 2 years. It's going to be, we just need a break because it has been intense. Carrie's son is a senior at Foothill, and he's going to school to be a teacher next year, and he looks at us, he goes, I never want to be a high school principal, because he just sees the hours and hours and hours of constant, communicating, and he's going to be a great teacher. I think he'd be a great principal too if he decides. But we definitely need a break. So upstate New York, it'll be. Well,
I hope Derek and I get an invitation. I don't know about, we can get up there and hit some Sea-Doos with you, Tam.
Oh, absolutely. I don't know. You got to take the boating safety course, though. It's true.
I used to have a couple boats. I had, back in the day, we used to go on the pond and, never skiing, but we would go tubing.
Yeah. Yep. We're ready to go.
That was fun as a kid.
Man, I love it out there. That's the beauty of Las Vegas. And we talked about this too. I feel like there are days in Las Vegas where you can hit Lake Mead and still make it up to Mount Charleston if you want and catch the slope. It's pretty amazing as far as our valley and what we have to offer here.
It's unbelievable. My very first year, I brought a boat out here when I moved out here. And an easy way to meet friends, right? Hey, I got a boat. You want to go boating? And so I remember it was like February 2nd. And it was one of these crazy warm days in February, like 70, 75 degrees. And all my friends were other teachers who I didn't know in New York, but they moved out here. And we got to know each other. And we're sitting on the boat in Lake Mead looking up at Mount Charleston with snow on it. And it was such a surreal experience because in upstate New York, it's either snow and ice or hot and humid. There's no in between.
Well, Tim, I tell you, man, I really appreciate you coming and sharing your experience. It's really great for us to connect with somebody that's really boots on the ground and during this pandemic with the scenario with education and schools and really hearing your perspective and joining us. So thank you so much for coming out and honestly being open to sharing your experience with us.
Thank you, Kobe. Happy to. Thank you, Derek.
Of course. Well, I tell you, man, with that, D, any last questions for Tam?
I always have questions for Tam.
I know. I feel like we could talk.
Text them.
By the way, I have a lot more questions when we get off here.
Oh, it's difficult. I mean, difficult times. You can see the pain in his eyes, to care that much, about what you do. I mean, and not being able to go in and serve the kids or, like you said, the IB kids, they want to, graduate this year and they can't. And like I said, one of my friends, I think she graduated one of the top in her class. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure which one. I haven't seen Jennifer since this all started, but
oh yeah, she's valedictorian.
Valedictorian.
Yep. All right.
Yep.
So Vu's
accepted
daughter.
at USC.
Yeah.
yeah. And just a shout out to the heroes in all of this are those food service workers who from day one have been out in that parking lot with school police as well. Our officer Makinich has been out there with them every day, serving up the meals to the kids. We serve about 1,200 per day at Spring Valley, and I think there's somewhere 30 different food sites around the county. So big shout out to them and their willingness to step right up, never push back, and they're there to help the kids.
It's amazing. This whole town, even like we're talking about, just serving this town food, just, the little necessity, not so little you need it to survive, but just stepping out for the children. I mean, it's so many generous, giving people are coming out and doing just amazing things for the community, and you're one of them. And
thank you.
Such a leader. Like I'm thinking of all the kids. I like kids too, to a certain extent, right? But not 2,600 of them. That's it's difficult, and I applaud you for you taking care of this community the way you do, and so many kids, and it's unbelievable. Thank you for coming in. We know that busy and stuff going on, but we really appreciate you coming in, because hearing different perspective of what's going on is what really serves this community. People listen to the podcast, they get to see it, real. So thank you.
I think one of the things that we know about Las Vegas is this city is resilient. We've been through a lot in the last few years, and we are going to get through this. It's not going to look the same as it was, but day by day, this city will get stronger, and we will survive, and we will recover. I'm confident.
Yeah, I love it, man. And of course, if there's any way that we can help, you can always reach out to us. And listeners, if you have a student looking for a good school, it sounds like Spring Valley is the place to be here in the Valley. So I'll give it a shout out, and go Grizz. I think it's super cool.
Grizzly Bear.
Well, I'm a Memphis Grizz fan, so it makes sense for me. Well, guys, living large, thanks so much. We're coming back at you with some more community leaders. But if you can ever support, reach out to Tam and check out Spring Valley. We'll see you live next time.